Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Wilke, and I want to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to provide you with my expert opinion on the biodiversity and evolutionary biology of Lake Ohrid. I have been working on Lake Ohrid for the past 13 years, not only as professor for systematics and biodiversity research at Justus Liebig University Gießen and as biological coordinator of the international deep drilling campaign in the lake that was recently conducted, but also as a former president of the Society for Ancient Lakes. Lake Ohrid is an outstanding ancient lake. It harbors more than 300 endemic species, that means species that only occur in the lake and nowhere else in the world. In fact, considering the relatively small size of Lake Ohrid, it might be the most biodiverse lake in the world. Therefore, my colleagues and I were interested to find out what drives this extraordinary biodiversity and whether its species were affected by past environmental events such as cooling and warming phases, lake level drops, or volcanic ash depositions. Integrating sedimentological, paleontological, and molecular data, we were able to precisely reconstruct the geological and evolutionary history of the lake. The results are really exciting and show that the lake has continuously existed for at least 1.3 million years. Moreover, although the lake went through phases of massive environmental changes, such as lake level drops of at least 60 meters, major glacial and interglacial phases, as well as ash deposition of 10 and more centimeters, we don't see phases of mass extinctions in the lake. In fact, its species evolved over a period of more than 1 million years with a constant rate, and background extinction has been very low. This indicates that previous environmental perturbations have had little effect on the evolution of its endemic species. We therefore believe that the lake has a high capacity to buffer environmental changes, that the ecosystems are highly resilient, and/or that the species are very resistant. However, at the same time, communities in the lake may act very sensitively to changes, and they need a long time to recover. To give you an example, a young Macedonian colleague of mine studied how diatom communities act to volcanic ash depositions, and she found that communities may need more than 1,000 years to recover and to reach pre-disturbance conditions. The problem is that today we do not see a single disturbance, but multiple disturbances at the same time. For example, pollution, eutrophication, habitat destruction, plus introduction of invasive species. These multiple stressors, together with a long recovery time, may drive communities beyond the tipping point, where recovery is no longer possible. Unfortunately, human pressure continues to increase in Lake Ohrid, especially via uncontrolled habitat destruction. Examples are marshland areas in the Ohrid Bay, which function as a gigantic natural filters for the lake, or the spring complex near Sveti Naum, which serves as an important limnological buffer. In fact, these springs also harbor an own set of endemic species. Speaking of endemic species, only a few years ago, the Babe Bunar spring in Ohrid was destroyed for a residential complex just a few hundred meters away from the Hydrobiological Institute. And with the spring, we lost another endemic taxon forever. Seeing that the lake is driving to a tipping point, I suggest immediate action. First, there should be a moratorium on all construction activities affecting the lake and/or its watershed. Then, a general management plan should be devised, governed by an international panel of scientists and endorsed by the local citizen. Finally, a strong anti-corruption policy should be implemented involving planners, developers, scientists, and other stakeholders. As I pointed out previously, the citizens of Ohrid are blessed with their lake. However, being blessed comes with a responsibility. We have to ask ourselves, how should our generation be seen in a few decades from now by our children and grandchildren? As a generation that destroyed one of the most biodiverse lakes in the world, driven by naivety, ignorance, false pride, political agendas, or even greed? Or should they see us as a generation that made every effort to save a paradise from peril? However, we are running out of time. So let us start saving the lake. Let us start now. Many thanks.